I'm Carol Giardina. One of the best things I ever did in my life was to be married to Jack Penrod, who fought in the Spanish Civil War with the Mackenzie Papineau Battalion of the 15th International Brigade. He led a sniper squadron. He was wounded, and when he recovered, he served as an ambulance driver. Jack got his start as a radical student leader at Penn State. Across the course of his 92-year life, he left and rejoined the Communist Party 3 times. He was a part of the Steelworker Organizing Committee. He settled down as a mild-mannered English professor while he was organizing the faculty into a union at the University of Florida. He was a member of Vets for Peace and the National Organization for Women when we met. Good. I'm going to pass this around so you can see a good picture of Jack. This is Jack organizing for National Health Insurance the year before he died. Here he is with his placard. Here we are in Spain at the international reunion of the brigades in '96. And this was a picture, we believe that one of the amigos in Spain took that. So let me just pass this around while I'm talking. We loved each other utterly and passionately for 13 years until he died in 2008. We went to Spain together in 1996 for the huge reunion of the International Brigades. I learned a lot, and it was very moving watching Jack thrive and soak up the love and gratitude of the Spanish people after he'd come home from the war sick and demoralized, and then was hounded by the FBI for many years. I remember Jack at every chance I get. I founded the John Penrod Brigada Scholarship Award for movement activists, now in its 4th year. I long to cross the Pyrenees in Jack's footsteps and bring some of his ashes there to throw over the mountainside into Spain. Last summer, the opportunity arose, and I seized it. There are many hours of super wonderful things to share about crossing the Pyrenees, and only 10 minutes now. We were a ragtag band from Spain, England, Puerto Rico, the US, Holland, Ireland, some of everywhere. We were organized by Pauline Fraser, daughter of a famous British brigadista. Pauline could lead exciting political discussions of radical politics and lead us across the Pyrenees at the same time. Between Pauline and Isabelle Pinard, who some of you know from the Association of the Amigos, right? I came home feeling like I made 2 great new friends for life. On a purely personal level, one awesome thing about crossing the Pyrenees was I made it. Okay, I'm 66, I'm not a hiker, I was able to do it. And then I celebrated making it to the mountaintop by singing freedom songs from all over the world and drinking champagne with the Irish late into the night. All fall, I've been shamelessly bragging about what I did on my summer vacation. I had the time of my life. Okay, here's what I most want to say about what I've taken away from the experience. We hiked the Pyrenees to the Spanish border. We stopped there, and I spoke of Jack and tossed his ashes over the mountainside. The group sang the Internationale in his honor. It was a beautiful and perfect moment. The next day, we were having a ceremony in Figueres, in Catalonia, at the historic castle of San Ferran. Catalan TV was filming the proceedings, and I was asked, well, sort of commanded, to give them an interview. Someone had told them my husband was in the International Brigades and that I'd brought his ashes from the United States and thrown them over the mountainside. Right away they asked, why did your husband come to Spain to fight with us? Now the media scare me, so I sort of went on automatic pilot, and I began answering this question as I'd heard Jack answer the question so many times. He came to defend democracy in Spain, I told the TV interviewer. Now, I had asked Jack why he went to Spain the first day I met him, and he gave me that answer then. It just drew a blank in me. Go halfway around the world to an almost sure to get killed in war because a group of people had just held their first elections? Jack would say this like it was obvious, as if it made perfect sense, sort of like he couldn't understand why anyone would even ask. Whenever Jack would give talks, people would ask him, why did you go to Spain? And he'd say, well, Franco's mercenaries were attacking the newly legally elected government. When he'd say this, I could tell people had the same reaction that I had had. I remember my friend Amy, she heard Jack telling about how they had to cross the Pyrenees at night because the border was closed. And she was like, wait a minute, it's already beyond reason that you went, and then you had to climb a mountain range in the dark to get in? So here I was talking to cattle and TV, and all this sort of flashed through my mind. All of a sudden, I couldn't stand it, that here I was giving this same pat, seemingly inscrutable answer. Then I heard myself saying, Jack knew that fighting the fascists in Spain was the right thing to do, because he was a communist. He'd been just a poor kid in a mining town in Pennsylvania, but he joined the Communist Party, and so he learned history, he learned about international politics, he became class conscious. Whew, I thought to myself, it's a good thing this is Spain. Still, I was happy that I said what I said. Why don't we talk this kind of stuff about this kind of stuff at our yearly Lincoln anniversary? Can we sing the Internationale there? Would it discredit the Lincoln Brigade if people knew that many of them, most probably, were communists? Is it somehow better for people to think of them just as idealistic youth? I once read a description of the Spanish Civil War that said that the Spanish earth was quote, soaked with the blood of dreamers. This sounds futile and depressing, especially compared with the idea that a bunch of brave, politically savvy young people maybe wanted to take a step for socialism. Georgia and I have talked about this question a little bit. Georgia remembers that our dearest Mo Fishman, who led the veterans of the Abraham Lincoln Brigade organization for many years, said the men in the Lincolns went to Spain because they were anti-fascist. I've sometimes wondered if perhaps some went because they were taking a proactive defense of the then Soviet Union, which was obviously in the fascist line of fire. Mo Fishman and I also had discussions of why we couldn't ever openly credit communists with the good things they did, whether it was fighting for black civil rights in the South, or fighting political repression in the 50s, or organizing the unions. Mo told me that if you said people were communists, the whole discussion would be derailed into a defense against anti-communism. But I have some comrades who think that might be a good thing to take on. And I remember an old friend, a lifelong Communist Party member, telling me that when she found out that it was communists who she saw getting their heads busted in an 8-hour day demonstration, that made her right away want to join the Communist Party, and she did join. So I'll stop now. Crossing the Pyrenees raised this ever-present question of why the International Brigades went to Spain in a new way for me. It was intellectually and physically exciting. So if the International Brigade Memorial Trust organizes another Pyrenees crossing, you all better come.